What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's daily market recap. In today's episode, I'm going to walk you through all the stocks I traded today, how I found them, what the catalyst was, where I got in, where I got out, and how I was able to lock up over $32,000 in trading profits. And guess what? Today is my birthday. I am now sitting up over $50,000 on the month, but you know what? I can't do this. Not with the music, because I got a bone to pick. Carmike7671, I saw your little comment yesterday. Let's go ahead and jump onto the screen share. Now, I come at you yesterday with a fire recap and a fire outfit. I don't know how many people you know who can pull off a $27,000 genuine tiger skin sweater. But what do I get in return? A little comment from you right down here saying, never thought I'd see the day where Ross would be looking like the Tiger King. So I'd like to know what in the Carol Baskins is your problem. Now, I'm sorry. I'm getting really worked up here. See, hurt people. Mike, you pushed me right to the edge. But let's put it behind us. Let's just let it be water under the bridge. I'm sure I'm not going to see another comment from you today like that. Right? Okay. So let's start over. What's up, everyone? In today's episode, I'm going to walk you through the stocks I traded today. See, I'm all off my game now. I can't think straight. I don't even know why I bother. Well, I took an oath that I would do a recap every day this year. So, because I said I would, I guess I will. Well, we've got VLCN here, up about 138%. And this was the stock that I made the most on. So let's just break it down. You know what? Let's go back to the very beginning. Let's look at the first trade I took today. So first trade, Evacs. All right, so this morning I sit down and my routine, as always, I pull up scanners on my phone, as you guys know. And the reason I do that is so I can get a sense of what's even kind of moving in the market. All right, so I pull up the scanners on my phone and I'm like, all right, we got a couple stocks that are moving higher, and Evacs was on the top of that scan. Now, the problem with Evacs for me is that this is a stock that I actually traded, was it last week? Maybe the week before. But it popped up and then sold off pretty hard, right? So you see how it popped up here and then just sold off. So I sort of felt like, after that red day, can I really trust it again here? Now, it did have news after hours. So we did have news on it. And so that sent it. And then exactly at 4 a.m., it continues moving. So it squeezes up to 450. It pulls back and then it punches up to 5. So I took that trade basically right there at 7 a.m. on the squeeze up to 5. And I kind of felt like this was a lot like REBN from yesterday, Reborn Coffee. Remember how Reborn Coffee had this kind of after hours move? And then, it was a little bit the previous day, pops up and sort of pulls away at 7 a.m. But then by the open, it had come all the way back down. So it did not end up holding up super well, which is sort of a bummer. So Evacs, I felt like it was similar, and I broke the ice on Evacs, and I ended up making $8,216 on it. So I broke the ice, I guess you could say, in a fairly big way. We're in a market right now that's really hot. So Evacs coming into 7 a.m., first trade, breaking the ice, 20,000 shares. Boom, I'm in, full size. I'm up on the first trade about 10, 15 cents. That's $2,000 of profit. And the way I figured on this is that it's already got a ton of volume. So we already had millions of shares of volume coming into 7 a.m. We could see what the total was. So let's see, from there to there, we had about 17 million shares of volume. So there was no problem starting with 20,000 shares. And I scaled up on this. I got myself up to, I think max position today was about 30, maybe 35,000 shares. It wasn't huge, but look, it was enough to do well. So I broke the ice here. This was my first trade on that little pullback. So I got in there for the breakthrough 450, and from 450 all the way up to 5 right there, that was where I was just jumping in, jumping out, and locking up profit. So really solid move right there. $8,216.03. So now I'm above the daily goal, which is 5,000, but I'm targeting 20,000. Why 20,000? Because that's my daily average right now. So, I'm paying close attention, and this was a comment from one of you guys. Now, as painful as Carmike's comment was, some of you guys put some really helpful comments in the, down below the videos. And I had one comment that was maybe a month and a half ago who said, Ross, instead of using $5,000 as your daily max loss, why don't you just look at what your daily average has been? Because I said I set my max loss basically at my daily average. And I thought, oh yeah, that's actually a good idea. But then that also made me think sort of similarly, maybe I should just use my daily average also as my daily goal. Now, probably it would be most helpful to use a 7-day average as your daily goal because we know the market can fluctuate so much. So does that mean my daily goal should be 28,000 based on the last 7 days? Maybe it could be, maybe it should be. I don't know. It would have worked today sitting at 32,000. So that's something that I'm kind of thinking about, being able and being willing to adjust my goal based on sort of what's happening in the market. And so I am starting with bigger share size, no doubt, on the first trades, especially on something like this that's set up pretty nicely, and especially after a nice day yesterday, right? So right now we're kind of in that typical week where Monday got green, solid day, about $18,000 of profit, came in today with a little confidence, being a little bit more aggressive. What am I going to do tomorrow? Even more confidence, even more aggressive. And that's how, all of a sudden I'm sitting at, can be sitting at 100,000 or more on the week, or even on an individual day. So, all right, so this is Evacs. So broke the ice there. First trade right here at 440, riding that momentum up to 5, was happy with that. That was great. Ends up pulling back, dropping back down, and didn't take any additional trades on it. Okay, so that's Evacs. So the next stock I traded after Evacs was Qntm. So Qntm hits the scanners. This one pops up. It's got news. It's got a very low float. And my initial feeling on it was, I don't know if I could trust it. It's very thinly traded, but I decided to break the ice on it. So this is how I traded Qntm. Qntm, we're going to go back here. I didn't take my first trade on it until a little over, or right around $5. So it pops up here up to 420, pulls back, pops up to 5, and right in here was where I took my first entry. So basically, as it was squeezing up, how do I find it? It's hitting my scanners. So it's firing up on the momentum scanner, boom, 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 boom. I see it squeezing, I pull it up, I see there's news, and I just waited for that little micro pullback just under 5, and then took that trade. It goes up to 540, boom, adding at 540, adding at 550, adding at 6, and we get this squeeze all the way up to 680. Now, the only thing that was a bummer on this was sort of similar to yesterday. I kept sizing up thinking, I guess I'm kind of waiting for that stock that goes up like $10 a share. And these are great moves, but we've been in a market where, every couple days or at least a couple times, it seems like every week or so, we have a stock that makes a huge move. And so I thought maybe this would be that. And anyway, sized up a little too heavy. It ends up dropping back down, comes back up, and this thing could not hold over 7. That was the main issue. It just kept reversing off of 7. So I actually gave back a little profit on it because I kept trying to time that break of 7 and it just kept not going. So I was a little disappointed there. Tries again right here. The wall of sellers at 7 was just unreal. So, there were good dip opportunities off of 6, but then finally it broke 6 and that was it. So this was trading in this channel between 6 and 7 for quite a while. But for me, my biggest trades on it were very early in the move from 5 all the way up to 7, $2 a share. Fantastic. And then these dips right here when we were still in kind of a bigger range. And then once it kind of got a little weaker, I was sort of done with it. So at the open, it tried to pop up again, but couldn't go, and that was it. So that was the next stock I traded. So then after Qntm, the stock after that was Acon. ACON. This hits the scanner and spikes really quickly from 750 all the way up to a high of it was 10. So we had that first spike right there, and I made like $1,500 on that. Again, we're in a market we're seeing big momentum, so I jumped on with small size, got a 50-cent dollar a share with small size. That was good. It drops back down, pops back up, drops back down, and it came back up right here. I got back in, and that was my best trade on ACON. And that was high volume too. That was a nice volume there, and we got a move on this from $9.50 all the way up to $11 a share, so $1.50. So boom, ACON up 8,800 on that one. Not an individual home run, but another solid base hit. Okay, so now next stock, I went back to trade Qntm a couple times, and then Cpix. That's the stock I had the biggest loss on today, $4,700, which was a bummer. So CPIX, I lost on it right up here. So first it pops up. I didn't trade that, but I took the curl on it right here, and I bought 20,000 shares at 3. It squeezes up to 320 and then dumps here. And before I knew it, I was down 4 grand. It was very quick. Those are 10-second candles. So just a really nasty rejection. Highest volume candle was red. And, you know, Acon worked. Some of the others worked. This one did not work. So, you know, a 20,000 share position, 20-cent loss, 25 cents is going to be a bigger loss, but it's tolerable. So at that point, I had peaked at 25,000 on the day and then gave back about 5 grand on that. So gave back a little bit of profit. That was a bummer. Disappointed. Okay, so anyways, where was I? Sorry, I just got distracted by it for a second. So Qntm, AMOD. So then AMOD hits the scanner. Didn't really make anything on that. $300. That was a small trade. So, you know, a small trade there at 8:30 on AMOD. There was some news on it, but the news that they're suing Walgreens, not sure how big that headline's going to be, or how well that's going to work for them. And then it was just back to VLCN. So the problem that I had with VLCN was that even though you got this awesome move at the open, the halts were really close together because this stock closed above $3 yesterday. So the halts were every 10%. So I didn't trade into this halt because I thought the halt was too close and I didn't want to buy right into a halt and then have it reject again off of, you know, this sort of high, because this one was rejecting a bunch as well. So VLCN, let me jump this one up. So let's get dialed in here. I realized I didn't break this one down in detail yet. So VLCN comes up with news and initially pops up. I don't think much of it. It pulls back. And then when it rips up here, I jumped in and rode that wave of momentum and then just kind of kept trading it as it was grinding higher. It has news, but on this one, it was really heavy. There were a lot of sellers up here. So it ends up pulling back at the open and I'm like, nah, I'm not sure if I'm going to get a whole lot more out of it. But then all of a sudden squeezed into a halt. So didn't really go for that. Opens higher, halts a second time. Then it opens, drops, pops up, drops, halts down. Opens lower, halts up, drops, halts up. And it's just like, as you could see, very choppy. So it did end up making a move at the open, but it wasn't actually easy to trade. So I made all of my profit on it in this area right here at the beginning of the move. That was where I did the best. And then at this area, I just left it alone and now it's halted down again. So, or no, it's not, sorry. But anyways, so VLCN, a little bit of a tricky one, but you know what? I was able to get green on it and green on the day. And with that, I was able to rally back from 20,000 on the day to 32,000, just about, right? So I peaked at 25,000, then lost 4 grand, 5 grand on CPIX, was back to 20,000, and then some nice trades on VLCN and a couple other little trades, and boom, $32,000 on the day, over $50,000 on the month. So now we've really got some momentum. Now I want to remind you guys, as always, my results are not typical. I've been doing this for a long time. And in fact, it was not that long ago on my birthday in 2021 that I had my biggest loss of all time. Now I saw Uncle Steve on the weekend and he said, Ross, records are made to be broken. I said, not this one, not this one. Losing $275,000 in one day, no thanks, would like to never do that again. So I have actually taken my birthday off a few years, but today, because yesterday was so strong and the markets have been so hot, I was just like, sit down, hit your base hits, get green, and then get out while going is good. So listen, those of you guys that want to learn how to trade, I'll put a link pinned at the top comments and in the description where you can do a 2-week trial here at Warrior Trading, watch over my shoulder, and see what it's like to be part of this community. Let me remind you, as always, trading is risky. My results aren't typical, so please take it slow, and I'll see you guys back here tomorrow morning. I'll be live streaming 7 a.m. for members at Warrior Trading.